Welcome back. The stalemate over the next House Speaker dragging into its fourth day, but a late-night deal may finally give Kevin McCarthy the gavel. Freedom Caucus Chairman Scott Perry tweeting this, quote, "We're at a Reagan moment. Trust but verify. The devil is in the details, and we'll take our time to ensure it's right." Not easy. Some concessions include allowing one member a motion to vacate, which creates an easier way to remove the speaker, putting House Freedom Caucus members on key committees as well, and a floor vote on term limits and specific border plans. Joining me now is Florida Congressman-elect and member of the House Armed Services Committee, Michael Waltz. Congressman-elect, Happy New Year and good morning to you. This has been quite a process this week, and America's wondering, will we have a speaker today?
Well, there were some breakthroughs yesterday and last night. I think we had the most productive talks that we've had all week, frankly. So I'm going to be an optimist and say we're going to make some major steps forward today. Not sure we're going to get it quite across the finish line. There are some that I think this is quite personal for them and McCarthy. I think that's unfortunate. We should bring in the priorities of our constituents, not our own personal priorities. But I'm going to be an optimist and tell you that we get there soon.
Okay. And what do you make of Scott Perry's tweet? Because as I've been watching this play out all week, I've had different feelings about it. First, thinking, well, perhaps the parties should get together and show a more united front, or they've had a long time to figure this out, so why hasn't it happened by now? But then watching part of the dialogue and what the 20 are looking for specifically, and some of the change they want to see in Washington, Scott Perry's point that this is a process and a dialogue to bring these issues to the forefront is a positive part of the process. You don't want it to drag on too long, certainly. But your thoughts on how the public will view what has happened here if it comes to a conclusion soon?
Well, first, the dialogue and these these conversations didn't start this week. They have been going on for months. Some even started before the election. But really intensified in the last few months. And we have made some major steps forward. The status quo did need to change, particularly how the House was run under Nancy Pelosi, where you could have trillion-dollar bills go into her office, not go through the committee process, no amendments, no input from members, and then get sprung on us with 24 hours notice or even less with an up or down vote. So a lot of those things needed to change. This group wanted to put some guardrails in. They wanted to get our spending under control. Our frustration has been, we got there. We thought we had gotten there, and every time we thought we got to a deal, there were some new demands or some different demands. And that's been incredibly frustrating, and I think many of us, myself included, have drawn the line when it comes to some type of quotas for committee chairmanships or subcommittees or what have you, or certain positions. We all have to compete. We're the party of competition and of merit, not of some type of quota system or affirmative action. I think we'll come to an agreement. You're right, there's some really positive changes. At the end of the day, in terms of your question of perception, look, I think this has been embarrassing in some ways, but what's really going to matter is what we get done when we get to work. Those investigations, the oversight that needs to happen right now, there is zilch oversight of the Biden administration going on and the conservative agenda that we were elected to do. Yeah. And I think once we get rolling, once Jim Jordan gets rolling, I'm going after Afghanistan, wokeness in the military, and other things that people are demanding that we do. That's what we're going to be graded on come 2024.
Joe?
Congressman, I agree with you that a week from now, if Kevin McCarthy finally gets past the finish line today, we're not going to be talking about what happened over the last couple of days, right? Things get blown up in the present, but when you look back at it holistically, it'll be about the investigations and the agenda. All that said, a lot of this seems to be personal from the Matt Gaetzes and Lauren Boeberts of the world. They say they will never vote for Kevin McCarthy, regardless of concessions. So even if McCarthy does get the gavel, you're going to have to work with these folks who don't clearly seem to want to work with their own party and instead like going on TV a lot.
Yeah. Well, look, I think there is a group that had some specific things, whether they were in the rules or agenda, that they wanted to ensure that McCarthy put forward. I think those are the ones that have been sitting down with these conversations. You're right. There's a group that it's about him. And again, I think that's unfortunate. It's not about any one person. And I think the point we'll continue to make is it's about 202 of us who are also elected to get things done for our constituents. But again, I think once these investigations are underway, once we start shining a spotlight, whether it's on the border, going after parents for school board meetings, origin of COVID, Fauci gain of function, there will be much less desire to disrupt all of that, especially as we start heading into 2024.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic that once the ball gets rolling, we're going to like the direction it's going.
If I may, just in the moments that we have left, President Biden expected to visit the southern border on Sunday. White House releasing its plan to try to curb illegal immigration, which includes expanding Title 42 and changes to some of the asylum laws. The president blames Republicans for the border crisis. Watch this.
It's clear that immigration is a political issue that extreme Republicans are always going to run on. We need more resources to secure the border. Yet again, extreme Republicans have said no. The Republicans haven't been serious about this at all.
Resources in the omnibus bill. They're using them for processing, not for security. Your response to that?
Right. Well, it's laughable and it's not serious. Look, there's three boxes Biden is trying to check. One is Democrat leaders, including local leaders on the border, have been ringing the alarm bell loud enough that I think he's finally listening. And it's mainly about Title 42 and where that's going. So that's one. Number two, this is about 2024, and he knows that any presidential candidate, including President Trump, is going to smack him over the head with the fact that he's never visited the border. And then three, he's on his way to Mexico for the North American Leaders Summit called the Three Amigos Summit. And just to have any credibility to sit down with the president of Mexico, having never visited our border. So that's what this is about. It's about checking boxes, not serious policy or reform.
That is exactly what I was thinking, that, you know, he needs some of this to go away in the media. So if he does check these boxes, people can't continuously say, well, you haven't been down to the border. You haven't gone to take a look yourself. In those press briefings, it does get a little tedious for Karine Jean-Pierre. Congressman-elect Michael Waltz, thank you so much. Good to see you this morning.